Hello, everybody. Josh here, and welcome back to another edition of the post-show review, where today I will be once again going over Monday Night Raw, this time from the September 22nd, 2025 episode, Monday Night Raw that just wrapped up, just finished. A an okay episode of Monday Night Raw. There were some things that I was expecting to happen that didn't, and I'm gonna get into that. Um, yeah, it was an okay episode. There were some good things. There were quite a few things that I didn't like. All that I'm gonna get into, but like always, I like hearing what you guys have to say, whether you agree or disagree with anything I mentioned in this video and this post-show review. So let me know in the comment section below. Obviously, the only place you're going to be watching this is YouTube. Um, and because these podcasts are not available on Spotify, I don't post them on Spotify. So all the post-show reviews for the weekly shows, that is, are all on YouTube. And if you are returning to the podcast, welcome back. You know all of this already, you know my whole spiel. But if you are new to the podcast, welcome back. I am your host, Josh, as always. As always, doing these post shows. For the weekly shows alone, doing it solo. Except for 1 week. We did do it with Rue. But that's when they were overseas and it was still like evening time for Rue. Right now it's like I don't know, like 2, 3 in the morning over there. But yeah, we're gonna get into Monday Night Raw. I'll get into the self promo later. Let's just jump straight into it. So we kicked off the night with Cody Rhodes. Now I didn't see the beginning half of this promo because I had to run a quick errand and then come back. So I got back around like 7:09-ish. And by the time I got back, Cody and Seth were both in the ring talking to each other. So I saw the end of that promo, and I saw that little bit back and forth there. So they went back and forth, and they both said some pretty hard-hitting things. Seth Rollins was saying that Cody Rhodes can be the quarterback all he wants, but he's going to be his quarterback. Meaning he's the coach, he's the one who runs everything. And this is obviously setting up for the Crown Jewel Championship match at Crown Jewel between Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins, since they are the two world champions. So just like last year, I thought for a second they weren't gonna do this because I was like, that was a Saudi thing, and now they're doing it in Perth. But it seems as though as they are still doing it, because they even mentioned it later with Stephanie Vaquer, which we're also gonna get into. But this was a fun promo. Cody Rhodes reminded Seth Rollins that each time, the 3 times that they have faced off, Cody Rhodes has won, and that makes sense to bring up. I feel like if they didn't bring that up, then it just wouldn't make sense. So yeah, Cody Rhodes brought up that he's beaten him 3 times. I don't know who I'm going to pick to win this match. As time progresses and these week progresses, I'll make my final prediction obviously, and I'll have the written predictions up, and then the predictions podcast alongside Rue and Stu. So yeah, that was what opened Monday Night Raw. A pretty solid promo from both. I really enjoyed it, and it was a good way to kick off Monday Night Raw. I apologize. I don't know what's going on with my voice recently. Maybe I'm just talking too much and I do too much content. But yeah, I'm starting to lose my voice apparently. Um, we then had a backstage segment where Jimmy Uso confronted Jey Uso. He went up to him because he wanted a rematch, tag team rematch against the Braun Breaker, and Bronson Reed. However, Jey Uso already went to Adam Pearce and made a match for himself against LA Knight later on in that night. And Jimmy Uso was questioning him about it, asking him if it was the right move. And Jey Uso said, "Well, yeah." And Jey Uso said, if LA Knight wasn't the special guest referee at WrestlePalooza, they would have beat the Brawns, and then blamed a little bit on Jimmy Uso. He said, if you hadn't been LA Knight's tag team partner, then the Vision would have taken care of LA Knight. So, still a bit of tension there between the two. Jey Uso was, he had his cut patched up because of the incident that happened at WrestlePalooza, which we're all pretty sure is the reason why the match ended so suddenly, because he was losing a lot of blood. That looked pretty bad, and he was patched up and everything. Our first match of the night, though, was a notice qualification 6-man tag team match. Penta and the War Raiders defeated Grayson Waller and the New Day in an okay match. This was nothing too special. I got really nothing from this. It seems as though as this rivalry is done because, commentary, Wade Barrett and Joe Tessitore, said, this is the cap on this rivalry between them. So that's a good thing because I wasn't enjoying this rivalry to begin with. I didn't find anything interesting about it. So hopefully Penta can go on to do some cooler things. And later on in the night during a commercial break interview he had with Byron Saxon and the War Raiders, he said he was still going after that Intercontinental Championship held by Dominic Mysterio. We're gonna talk a little bit about the Intercontinental Championship because after that match, we had a backstage segment where Dominic Mysterio went to the Judgment Day asking for help with Rusev. He asked Finn Balor first, and Finn Balor said, "Well, last week you said you can do it on your own, so no, I'm not helping you." And JD McDonough had the same mindset when Dom asked him. However, Roxanne Perez, convinced JD McDonough that he should help Dominic Mysterio for the sake of the Judgment Day. So JD reluctantly said yes, and Dominic Mysterio had already had a match ready for him against Rusev later on in the night. So it seems like Dominic Mysterio may be either kicked out of the Judgment Day soon or leaving the Judgment Day soon. We're gonna have to see because there's some friction being caused, and there's been friction for so long that I think this turn just needs to happen already. Um, so yeah, then we had another backstage segment. So many of these. Bailey went up to Lyra Valkyria, who seemed to have forgotten that she yelled at Lyra last week and called her an idiot, and Lyra was very confused, especially when Bailey asked Lyra Valkyria to be in her corner for her match tonight. She was really confused, but Lyra reluctantly said yes. We then had a Stephanie Vaquer championship celebration. Adam Pearce introduced her. She came out. She thanked the fans. Her English is getting a lot better, by the way, and so I'm happy to see that. She's definitely been working a lot on that promo skills. I saw the little clip from her interview. I believe it was with Chris Van Vliet, where she said, these promos in English are very difficult for her, and so kudos to her for still trying and still learning. Um, yeah, she's getting a lot better at it. However, nothing happened here. It was just a celebration. She thanked the fans, she thanked her dad, and they had a little bit of pyro for her, and that was it. I thought maybe we'd get a Tiffany Stratton appearance and interruption, but no, nothing at all. Tiffany Stratton this week on SmackDown is facing Jade Cargill and Nia Jax in a triple threat match for the Women's Championship. And they made it a thing where obviously, Stephanie Vaquer will be facing the winner of that match for the Women's Crown Jewel Championship at Crown Jewel. I'm sure it's just going to be Tiffany Stratton. I can't see the title changing hands this week. But then again, I could be wrong. They could just go with Nia Jax. But it's not something I want to see, nor do I want to see it be Jade Cargill because they obviously didn't put the title on her for a reason. So I'm hoping we could just put a cap on this whole feud with Tiffany Stratton, Jade Cargill, and Nia Jax. But yeah, just a celebration from Stephanie Vaquer. Nothing interesting happened there. We then had a video package, recapping what happened between Cena and Brock. I thought this was going to lead to them announcing a rematch or something or some sort of segment, maybe with Brock, but nothing happened. They just showed what happened at WrestlePalooza, so it meant nothing at all. Um, Another backstage segment, Stephanie Vaquer is congratulated by Nikki Bella and Rhea Ripley. Nikki Bella's just back there doing side quests and talking to random people. Um, so I guess that is what it is. But yeah, she's congratulated by them and then approached by Asuka and Kairi Sane. And Asuka pretty much tells Stephanie Vaquer that Io should be champion and that Stephanie doesn't deserve it. Rhea Ripley then, after everybody walks away, or after Vaquer and Nikki Bella walk away, says she is tired of the attitude from Asuka, and they eventually go a little bit back and forth. And Rhea, I believe it was Rhea that challenged her to a match later tonight, in which she accepted. So that was set to be the main event, which I found out a little bit later on when Joe Tessitore said it. I really thought that Jey Uso versus LA Knight was going to be the main event, but not the case at all. Um, what then would we have after? We then had Bailey versus Roxanne Perez. Bailey defeated Roxanne Perez by pinfall. A match I didn't pay too much attention to. I was paying more attention to the like TikTok live chat and talking to people in there. But from what I did see, it seemed like an okay match. It didn't seem like anything spectacular. I don't think I missed anything spectacular in this match. It was just a match, and Bailey won. After the match, though, Lyra went into the ring and hugged Bailey, who seemed like she was again struggling with who she really is, and then pushed Lyra off of her and just called her a bunch of things. She's like, I think she says something along the lines like, "You think you can touch me, with that stupid outfit you have on." Um, yeah, she was just throwing random insults out there and then just stormed off. And Lyra looked even more confused. I don't know what their end goal is for this with Bailey, but I guess we just have to see what happens with Bailey because this is just it just seems like it's going nowhere at the moment, but I could be wrong about that. We then had a backstage segment once again. Cody Rhodes approached Jimmy Uso and asked how Jey Uso was doing. Jimmy said he's all in his head. There was nothing really to this backstage segment than them just talking about Jey Uso and how his head is not in the right place. We went to commercial. We came back. Cody Rhodes went up to Jey Uso and asked Jey Uso if he was feeling okay. Jey Uso told him yeah. He's just gonna handle LA Knight tonight. And yeah, again, nothing really from that segment. There was nothing from there. We then went to Rusev versus JD McDonough. Rusev beat JD McDonough by submission. Um, After the bell rang, after JD McDonough tapped out, Dominic Mysterio was just standing on the apron while Rusev still had the accolade locked in and was not helping JD at all. But Finn Balor then came out and took out Rusev and saved JD McDonough. He was very confused. He was asking Dominic Mysterio why he didn't help. So yeah, more friction between the Judgment Day. I think this turn just needs to happen already. However, next week on Monday Night Raw will be the Intercontinental Championship match between Dominic Mysterio and Rusev, which just makes me think that Dominic Mysterio is going to retain. Yeah, that's where I see it going. I don't see him losing the title just yet, so I'm assuming the Judgment Day or maybe El Grande Americano or El Grande Americanos help out Dominic Mysterio, and that's that. Because I can see Finn Balor and JD McDonough be like, okay, after last week I'm not helping you, but then El Grande Americanos help him. Backstage, Io Sky tried to talk Asuka out of the match with Rhea Ripley later on, but Asuka wasn't having it. She said, no, it's happening. We then had Jey Uso defeating LA Knight with some help from Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed unintentionally because while LA Knight seemed like he had the win in his hands, Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed came out. Of course, we can't have one of these matches without interference. Jay then hit a spear off the distraction and then hit a beautiful Uso splash. He really got up there on that Uso splash. Yeah, beautiful looking Uso splash. A pretty solid match too. It wasn't terrible at all. Um, but it's just the interference, man. I'm so tired of it. But then, yeah, after that, Jimmy Uso came out as Jey Uso was walking on the ramp, and Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker were surrounding the ring with LA Knight just in it. And Jimmy Uso was telling Jay, like, you gotta come help me, man. We gotta go take care of these guys, help LA Knight out. Jey Uso just walked away, didn't bother helping. Um, and then Jimmy Uso then ran down with a chair that was coincidentally just there. And grabbed the chair and then ran off the Vision. Paul Heyman had to scream like no to Braun Breaker like he was an actual dog. Um, I don't know. I hope that's not the direction they go. Like I remember when Breaker started barking at Byron Saxon, I was like, okay, well, let's just not do that, please. Let's not take it that far. Um, we then had a backstage segment. Becky Lynch was with Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins was just sitting there listening to Becky Lynch ranting about Cody Rhodes, ranting about the Usos, and then AJ Lee, um, and said, she pretty much said she will make an example. And I wrote tonight on the website, but I don't think she actually said tonight. I think she said, I'm going to make an example, which led me to believe that there was going to be a segment with her tonight and maybe AJ Lee would interrupt, but that was not the case. Spoiler alert, Becky Lynch did not come out at all after this. and there was no AJ Lee on this show. And there was somebody in my TikTok live chat who was very disappointed because he stayed up all night. I'm assuming he's in a different time zone. He stayed up just for AJ Lee, and there was no AJ Lee. So I think she should have been on this show, especially it's the Raw after WrestlePalooza. You need to capitalize on the momentum of her making Becky Lynch tap out. So I'm not sure why she wasn't on the show. If there's a specific reason, I haven't heard anything. Um, Maybe I'll keep a lookout, see if anything comes up in my reports or whatever. But as of right now, I don't know why AJ Lee wasn't on this show. We then had Io Sky trying to talk Rhea Ripley out of the match, trying to get her to call off the match, but Rhea Ripley also wasn't having it. Rhea Ripley told Io Sky she should watch her back when around Asuka, but Io Sky was like, no, Asuka's family, she wouldn't do anything. Um, and then we went to a video package showcasing El Grande Americano that looked very AI. It was definitely AI. They've done this before with the El Grande Americano thing. I don't understand why they can't just film certain things with the actual El Grande Americanos. Um, I don't know, man. It just seems very lazy that they're using AI for this. And I don't 100% agree with it, or don't agree with it at all, to be honest. Because just use the actual people who are playing El Grande Americano. It doesn't make sense why are you using AI, but it is what it is. Um, we then had backstage. Adam Pearce was talking to wow. I wrote Adam Pearce is talking to Adam Pearce on the website, guys. I don't know how I managed to do that, but luckily I remember he was talking to Maxine Dupree about an opportunity. Pierce says, eventually, she'll get an opportunity. Just give him time. Just keep doing what she's doing. After she walks away, he's approached by AJ and Lee. AJ Styles and Dragon Lee. I saw the joke on Twitter. I had to just say it. AJ Styles and Dragon Lee came up to Adam Pearce, and AJ was, saying he's tired of these El Grande Americanos and he wants to fight them in a tag team match. Him and Dragon Lee want to fight two of the El Grande Americanos in a tag team match, and they said just pick any two. So yeah, they are. Adam Pearce said he's going to talk to them, and there will be a tag team match next week with AJ Styles and Dragon Lee versus two of the El Grande Americanos. So that should be something. We then had the main event of the evening. Rhea Ripley defeated Asuka by pinfall. A small package roll up. I don't understand the roll up finish for this because you haven't really done anything with Asuka. I don't see the need to protect her that much. But I guess it was just like, oh, just barely won. But if Rhea Ripley is supposed to be next in line for that Women's World Championship, then I feel like she should have won with a Riptide or something like that. But that's neither here nor there. After the match, Asuka spit the poison mist into Rhea's face, and then Kairi Sane joined in on the attack. Io Sky then came out to stop the attack, and Asuka was like, okay, okay. And seemed like she was going to back off, but then clocked Io Sky with a spinning back fist. And then Kairi Sane joined in on the attack with an insane elbow to Io Sky. So that turn has officially finally happened. I don't understand why WWE waits so long for these turns to happen because this was a turn we saw coming. This wasn't like, oh, is it gonna happen kind of turn. It was the one that we're like, okay, it's just a matter of time before this happens. So not a surprise at all. Um, and I like all respect to Joe Tessitore, but I feel like if you wanted to make this turn big, you need to have a better call for that. Because his call for this turn just wasn't good. It didn't seem enthusiastic at all. Um, yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just his style I can't get behind, but it did not seem enthusiastic. He did not seem like enthusiastic about the turn at all. Um, but then, yeah, that was Monday Night Raw. That's how it ended. There was no Becky Lynch. There was no AJ Lee. Not even any CM Punk on this show. So I'm not sure why that was the case, if there's a specific reason and I'm just missing something. But yeah, that was Monday Night Raw, an okay episode of Monday Night Raw. Like I said in the beginning, there was nothing really special that happened here. If you missed it, you're better off just going on TikTok or Twitter and seeing like clips of what you missed, and you'll be all caught up that way. because you really didn't miss too much here. Um, like even the turn at the end was whatever. We all saw that coming. But yeah, let me know what you guys thought of Monday Night Raw. If you agree or disagree with anything I said, I always love hearing them. There's a multiple different ways you can let me know your opinion. You can let me know in the comment section below on YouTube. You can also let me know on Spotify under any of the other podcasts because these ones are not on Spotify. You can let me know on the Kayfabe Central website where I post all my coverage posts, articles, written predictions, all that good stuff. So go check that out. I have a group community page on there as well on the website, so you can join that up. You can also join up the Kayfabe Central Discord server. That's also linked down below in the description. So make sure you go check that out. And what else do I have to promote? Go follow me on TikTok as well, because I do lives every single show except for TNA. So make sure you're joining in on the TikTok lives. Just come chat it up with me and live while we watch along with whatever show it is. Tomorrow night it's obviously going to be NXT, so I will be live for that. Yeah. Let me know what you guys thought of Monday Night Raw and make sure you watch out for the NXT post-show review tomorrow night. And if you also haven't checked out my interview with Brittany Brooks, make sure you go check that out. It just released today on YouTube and Spotify, so make sure you go check it out. It's available not just on Ko-Fi now, like I said, on YouTube and Spotify. So we had a great conversation. So make sure you go check that out. But yeah, with that being said, I'm going to call it a night, and I will see you guys on the next one. Take it easy.